So now we're going to go ahead and do an overall on the Defend patch. And so, Susan, take it away. Share with us what the Defend patch does.
Well, Defend is one of my favorite patches because it helps with the immune support. And, that's such a huge um, issue nowadays because of people getting sick all the time. Also, it helps utilize vitamin D. So when you go outside and you lay in the sun and you put a Defend patch on, it actually helps the conversion and utilization of vitamin D, which is so important for the immune system, but also for hormones in the HPA axis, because most of these cholesterol gets converted to a lot of the hormones, which actually involve the building block of cholesterol. So that's really important. One of the things that I found that was really great with Defend is it actually separates the blood cells. So you go from clumped to unclumped, which is so good because you can utilize oxygen. You actually, these little red cells, these are red cells that go through the microcapillary circulation. Red cells about 7 microns. The capillary is about 4 microns. They bend and twist. They need to be individualized in single files so you can actually get them through and to get the oxygen absorbed by the red cells, get rid of the carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
get rid of other toxins. So this is very important. And you also have the surface to volume ratio to absorb water, nutrition, oxygen, get rid of toxins, get rid of CO2 out of the system. So many people who have this clumped blood actually are sick. And when you unclump the blood, you actually allow the body to function and to make ATP to even function for your brain to think, your heart to beat, your body to move without pain, without heart palpitations, etc. We're not making medical claims, but essentially this is a functional utilization of oxygen because you could have a whole lot of oxygen, like 100% O2, and if your blood looks like that, it's not going to absorb. And so it's utilization as well as absorption. And even people with very clumped blood can actually unclump just with the patches. And, because of, this is this is a thermogram, and a thermogram shows inflammation. I didn't have any patches down. I drove down to North Carolina to give a talk and to a thermography location, and I didn't have any patches on. And I put one Defend on, and within 2 minutes, it went from here to here.
So
Uh,
explain to people who have never had any experience with thermography before what the difference is between the two scans.
okay, this one, the more blue, the less inflammation. So, so the hot spots, red is where there's more heat. So thermography measures
Yeah.
heat. And so inflammation emits heat. And that heat is detected by the thermogram. So within 2 minutes, I mean, so I had more, I was irradiating more heat.
Yeah.
Why? Because an inflammation, just chronic inflammation,
It looks
can
like up in your neck, up here, there were spots in your armpits, and then
right
also right
under
here
the
underneath
breast.
your breasts and right
Yep.
there in your chest.
Near the thymus area.
Hmm.
And literally, I put on, oh, I don't have any patches on. What if I put a Defend patch on and you do it again? Within like 2 minutes, it went from here to here.
That's
So,
incredible.
and so I took pictures. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put it in my talk. And the other thing is, I did some third-party testing myself with my microscope, and I did someone, who wasn't feeling well, and the blood was stacked universally in a rouleau formation, and person wasn't feeling very good. Well, I
So,
did.
so for someone who like doesn't know what they're looking at, tell us what we're seeing here.
These are red blood cells. These are red blood cells, and they're stacked like in a stack of coins. And normally, red blood cells should be separated. So, for instance, I put a couple of the patches and Defend. Defend was the main one, and it actually separated the blood cells. That's just using Defend, and
They're very different. And this
Yeah,
is
they're
the
not
same
stacked.
person, just
Same
moments
person.
apart.
Yep. So
That's
I tested it, because when you mentioned before and after. And you know why it helps the immune system? Because the immune system, you need oxygen because anaerobes and most pathogens are anaerobic. And so if you have oxygen in the system, it suppresses the growth of anaerobes. So it's vital to actually separate those blood cells so you can oxygenate the system, make the ATP, which is the unit of energy to fix the damage done, and also allow oxygen to be absorbed and utilized. So it helps with suppress those pathogens. Also, it helps with vitamin D formation and HPA axis because that is the vitamin D converts cholesterol into the hormones. So
wow,
there's so
that's
many
really
things
beautiful.
that Defend does. So I think this is vital. I mean, this is just this alone, and this is their slide, corporate slide. It shows, from this to
Yeah.
this, which is really one
Mhm.
of the most important things you can do to just have your body function better. If you don't have oxygen in your system, things grow, pathogens grow, and disease thrives in an unoxygenated state because you don't have the energy to fix and repair your blood cells. I mean, or anything else. I mean, your whole system depends on oxygen to repair because its
Awesome.
energy is everything.
So, in summary, who would you recommend the Defend patch be like an option for on a regular basis?
Anybody who has fatigue, because when you have fatigue, you're not able to utilize oxygen to make ATP, and ATP is the foundational unit of energy. So people who are fatigued would benefit from Defend. People who have chronic, we don't make disease claims, but I mean, if they have a condition
Mhm.
that is not fixed, not optimized, and they're struggling and they have autoimmune issues or they have a chronic long term infection and they just are struggling, to get their health. Defend Patch is a great layer, okay,
Mhm.
to optimize the body on a cellular level to help oxygenate the body and give the body a fighting chance to actually get the body back into homeostasis.
Awesome. Okay, there you guys have it. There's the Defend patch. If you have any questions, be sure to let us know. Thank you.